Hello and welcome to today's EMBN Show. On the show today, we'll be looking in fine detail at Cube's all-new Stereo Hybrid 155 29-inch wheel, 750 watt-hour battery, Bosch motored, mid-travel flying machine. Doddy, you're very familiar with the Cube bikes. Now, this is a new bike. It's 155mm travel. It sits in between the Stereo Hybrid 140 and the Stereo Hybrid 160. It's 29 on the 140, 27.5 on the 160. I actually prefer the 29-inch 140 bike if I'm out riding, but the big difference with this bike is it's a marked change in terms of the suspension design for Cube. They've now gone for a horizontal shock mounted with is that clevis design, did you mention?
That's right, yeah. So it's a classic 4-bar design. I mean, I've got to say, when you sent it, I didn't even recognise it as a Cube, because just the silhouette of it is just not characteristic of their style. Yeah. So still a 4-bar design using that swing link on the seat tube there. And using the clevis to drive the shock, because you obviously need to do that with the position the seat tube's in. But I think it's a good design like this because they're using a short clevis. So suspension designers, a lot of suspension tuners anyway, don't like the long clevis designs of shocks because they could put a lot of strain on the shock if you haven't looked after your hardware. So if stuff gets loose, basically, you can actually damage the shock. Yeah. So it's a really good design. And I guess with e-mountain bikes, you know, the increased use that they get. Gonna ride them, hammer them.
Exactly. There's some very cool details on this bike, folks. I think the main news is that it's a huge 750 watt-hour battery in there, and it weighs in at 21 kilos. I think this is now a trend that we're seeing in e-mountain bikes. You know, large capacity, big range bikes at lightweight. The new Bosch Smart System in there. You've got a top tube mounted display. You've got the super dinky remote on the handlebar. 150, 160 travel, as I mentioned earlier, 29-inch front and rear. 20% lighter actually than the Hybrid 140, and it's got adjustable geometry. And the price, obviously it's a very special bike, so that's reflected in the price. Comes in at 7,000 euros. Now, that doesn't mean to say that Cube don't actually have some very good value bikes in the range as well. I mean, check out this Stereo Hybrid 29 Pro, 4,000 euros, and that's with a 750 watt-hour battery as well. So you guys have got options. So we'll talk about the geometry, Doddy, on the 155. We've got a reach of 472 in a size large, which is pretty good. Seat tube angle 75.5, which is great. I think this is where we're going now with mid-travel, you know, e-mountain bikes, and I guess mountain bikes as well, right? The steeper seat tube angle. Just,
you know, the wheelbase has got longer over the years. It's just about neutralising the position.
Yeah. Chainstay 453.
So it's a big bike, but it's not massive. You know, like many XLs are over 500 now, comfortably. Yeah. So it means it'll be a bit more agile. Not a bad thing.
Yeah, I guess 472 for me. I think I like a reach of around 480, 485 for me, but that doesn't mean to say that I don't ride larger bikes. For example, my Canyon Spectral I actually run the XL bike in that because it's got a shorter chainstay. I like a longer front centre to push me a bit further forwards on the bike.
Load the front.
So, you know, we look at these geometry numbers week in, week out on the show, but yeah, you need to understand it's just one number in a lot of numbers. It all needs to kind of balance out, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's aggressive up front, 64-degree head angle, adjustable to 65. I mean, 64, not too long ago, was downhill territory.
It was, yeah.
And that's just pretty standard now for an aggressive trail bike.
And on a 150 trail bike. Folks, let us know what you think of the all-new Cube 155. I think it's very cool. Doddy, let's move on to a bit of action. Jackson Goldstone, the Santa Cruz Syndicate Ripper at World Cup downhill level, seems to have been enjoying his Santa Cruz Bullet.
Man, that guy, he's like a wizard on a bike. The video is seriously cool, filmed in Squamish, which is a seriously cool place to ride a bike. Some familiar trails in there, In-N-Out Burger and Angry Midget. I've ridden both those trails. But seeing him ride up the slabs.
Yeah.
And actually he struggles on one of the steeper ones. It's really cool though, the way he manoeuvres that bike. It's a heavy bike and he's quite a slight build guy.
It did seem he was riding on a large bike, didn't it?
It did look large, but I think it's kind of deceptive. You can't actually tell, and a lot of it is just a few side-on shots.
Yeah. It's interesting actually, we've got a video which we had on the channel last week, how the pros use e-mountain bikes. I did a video with Alan Milway, who's actually the trainer, coach of Greg Minar. Now it's interesting that actually the syndicate team will try to have an e-mountain bike at a lot of World Cup downhill events. They use it for such things as kind of warming up, cooling down after the race. You know, some of the racers use it to get up to the track to maybe there's a change in line. In line. You can access the track really quickly with an e-mountain bike rather than go on the chairlift. So yeah, that bullet will be an integral part of the syndicate team this year for sure. Now, it's come to my attention over the past few weeks that there's been some very cool bikes submitted to the Bike Vault and also Where in the World. So we've got a bit of a black theme on some cool bikes this week. First of all, we've got this Merida E160 in from Paul. I think it's a stunning Bike Vault shot, but actually I think it stands out as a cool bike in itself. Now, the next bike is really quite interesting. Now, this is a Pasilla. And the cool thing about this bike, it features the Revonte combined motor gearbox. Doddy, it seems pretty, for a hardtail, titanium hardtail.
I'd say that's the cool thing about it, is the fact it's titanium.
Yeah, and I mean the angles on it look pretty slack to me, don't they?
Yeah, that's well raked out at the front end there. Yeah. It looks a little bit like a G-box type thing you would have seen a while back. Obviously this is a hardtail. Yeah. But just the styling of the bike, yeah, it's trick.
I can't see. Is it belt drive? It is belt drive. It is belt drive. It is belt drive. Now, this is actually a bike which I would really like to ride. You know, great geometry, fantastic material. I'm a big fan of titanium bikes. But obviously, it's that combined motor gearbox from Revonte in Finland. We've seen it at a Eurobike show many times, but actually have a bike there which is rideable. I think I'd love to get my hands on that bike. Now, next up is, this is from Andy. Location is the Forest of Dean. Steve, your latest video on copy frames, take a look at my Ion Imperiums. Now, Doddy, you won't be party to this, so myself and the Don... I have no idea
what these are.
So myself and the Don, there have been some bikes on the show the last few weeks. There's been the Volition, there's been the Tosser, and there's been the Deng Fu. So basically, we talked about different brands using the same frame. Yep. Which is fine. I spoke
for many years in a regular mountain bike world.
We have, things such as we saw the Azonic, which was a copy of the M1.
Or every man and his dog using Intense with different stickers on it.
Exactly. The Don
Giant and various others.
The Don had one of his best results ever on the Azonic bike. Just because it's a copy doesn't mean to say it's a bad bike. And I think this bike with the Bafang motor. Paul, if you're in the Forest of Dean, please give us a call. Let's do let's do a ride on this bike to get some more fine detail on it. So thanks so much for sending it in. I don't know how I'm going to get in touch with you, but I'll find a way. And then finally, we've got. I thought I'd chuck this in, Doddy. This is Kava out in the Philippines.
Sick.
With his mates. I just thought I'd chuck that one.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for sending you cool bikes and cool places. Actually, talking about cool places, we'll come on to that in a bit. Some comments on the video that myself and Louis behind the camera did a few weeks ago, where Louis, who is 65 kilos and 65 years old, was riding the Track Fuel EXE at 18 kilos, and myself at slightly younger than that, but 95 kilos on the full Power Canyon Spectral on. Now, one thing which we noticed on the comments was a lot of you guys said £13,000 for the Track Fuel EXE. I want to tell you that actually that is the top level bike. You can actually get a Track Fuel EXE for £6,000 with the same motor, same battery, same geometry, just different frame materials and componentry. Now, Nathan Carr says, good video, thanks Nathan. A friend of mine is looking at the Track Rail 9.7 versus the Fuel EXE 9.7 as his first eMTB. I'm 68 kilos and he's 90 kilos. I have the Track Rail 9.7, love it. He just watched the video and decided the Rail 9.7 his birthday gift next week. Well, there you go.
Straight in with a new bike.
Straight in with a new bike. Roy Broomfield. Next, put Louis on a non-e-bike and Steve on the Fuel EXE and see if they can ride together. Louis, you up for that?
Yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah.
He's up for anything, mind this
Won't
bike.
be much different, will it?
I don't think it will be. I think we should probably see the same result. And
Anthony Elliott says, I've got a full powered bike. I'm 67 kilos, ride it in eco mode. The higher modes feel overpowered for me and pretty useless as the cutoff is so low at 15.5 miles an hour. I only ever dip into higher mode on a really steep incline.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, it depends where you ride. Sometimes, like Louis' point was, I'll never be able to feel how he feels on a full-powered e-bike.
Yeah.
I guess he'll never be able to feel how I feel on a full-powered e-bike either.
Look, if you load them up with weights, it will love
It's not
that.
the same though, is it? We did that at Ollie Wilkins once with a bulletproof vest with lead in it.
I saw him throwing his toys out of the pram.
Absolutely hated it. And then finally, Rob G says, you need to go on a loop in the peaks. Then you will see that half-fat can't keep up with full e-bikes. It's true to a degree, big, long rides in really steppy ground, technical ground. You love technical ground, Lou, don't you? Yeah. Yeah, good point. So, folks, thanks so much for your comments on that video. I think it's really interesting. We'll try to get out on the non-e-mounted bike and lightweights in future. Okay, this part of the show, we look at some cool places to ride, but I thought we need some hot places to ride as well, because it's February here in the UK. But the first is a cool place. This is up at High Cup Nick in Cumbria.
What a shot.
It's a beautiful shot, isn't it? It looks a fully chilling valley though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the kind of place you get to on e-mountain bikes. But then, you know, we move further south to Australia, and Stephen and his giant E-Trans. It's a nice hot shot. And then this one for me, I think, is Gunnar with his Rocky Mountain Power Play up in Folldalen, Indelet, Norway. I'd love to get. Have you ever ridden in Norway?
Never been Norway.
Have you not?
Nope.
I thought you'd been up to Hafjal.
Nope. Nope. Not me.
Interesting.
Love to.
And then, Doddy, I thought we would bring in a bit of beach life. This is Nick and 12 of his mates out at Wallara National Park, south of Newcastle, Australia. I mean...
Early ride before it reaches 35 degrees.
Do you know what?
Sounds terrible, doesn't it?
I'm looking forward to a bit of beach life, I have to say. And then finally, I thought this is a really nice shot because it looks like the rock is super grippy here. This is Alvin, the GeForce E-Amp out in Riverside, California. Yeah, Alvin, the rock grippiness there looks all time. Very jealous, very jealous. The Global Bike Festival will be taking place again in Saalbach, Austria in June this year. All the team will be there from GCN, GMBN Tech and Doddy, and of course EMBN now.
And GmbN auf Deutsch.
And GmbN auf Deutsch, yep. Sorry, for sure. Now, Saalbach, fantastic place to ride. Of course, we've got some of the World Cup racing going on in the nearby valley at the same weekend, so opportunities to go and see some of that as well. Now, the good news is we've actually got a prize where you guys can come and join us in Saalbach that weekend, right?
That's right, Steve. Yeah, the winning prize is a weekender ticket. So it's 3 nights half-board accommodation in the official festival hotel. I think it's the same one we're all staying in.
Yeah, it's all kicking off there.
Which could be bad because you'll be stuck in a bar with him. And it's for 2 people. So if you win it, you get the ticket for 2 people. Yeah, and it's great. And there's also 5 runner-up tickets with festival tickets. So all the details are going to be in the link underneath this. Definitely worth entering. Come and hang out, ride bikes.
Come and join us. And Doddy, fantastic club downstairs, I have to say.
Yeah, I know.
Great spot.
I'm going to be playing that.
Oh, didn't know that.
There we go.
Are you really?
Yeah.
There you go. It's a great spot. Folks, welcome to the Bike Vault time. Doddy, did you know that we do not do nice or super nice anymore on EMBN because they're all curated, as the Don put it last week, as all fantastic bikes.
Okay.
So we'll kick things off from California, and Mike and his Marin Alpine Trail E2 on Ball Rock Dome in Northern California.
Lovely looking bike.
Doddy, it won't be long before you're over in California for Sea Otter, I'm sure.
Yep. I'm not sure I'll be lucky enough to see a view like that, but wow.
But what about this review though? This is Clyde's custom paint Orbea Rise Carbon. This is a stunning looking bike.
Oh, I can't take my eyes off those 5 dev cranks. Oh.
I mean, that is something else, isn't it? I mean,
that is a beautiful bike, yeah.
I think, fortunately, we're going to see Orbea soon, and hopefully I'll be able to get to ride one of the new Rise bikes, and hopefully one of the Wilds as well. And then a beautiful shot here of Nuke-Proof Megawatt from Kyle in Danny Hart's Descent Bike Park. It's a nice, it's a great, not bad shot, that is it?
No, it's great. Also, note it says, recovering from an accident on a pump track 3 months ago, fractured his pelvis, perforated bowel, broken thumb and serious concussion. How'd you do that on a pump track? That's awful.
Kyle, take it easy. Now, Tiago has got his transit in Australia. And then I thought we'd bring a bit of cold kit with Zach's YTD Club kind of chase. That's a bit of shine coming off that bike. And a Focus by Tommy up in North Yorkshire Moors. And then, finally, we've got Gary's Cube Stereo down at the Forest of Dean.
Popular spot.
And that is it. Folks, thanks so much for joining us. Doddy, great to see you.
Thanks for joining.
Folks, let us know what you think of Cube's all-new Stereo 155. It's a stunning looking bike. Remember, Cube do other bikes in the range as well, and we will see you next week.